Colorado is another state that is proving exactly my point, that Democrats or leftists can never have power again in government over any other people, right? So Colorado is doing something absolutely crazy, or at least they're trying. We'll see where it goes. Guys, it is Tuesday. Well, no, it's not. It's Wednesday. It's supposed to be Tuesday for me because I had a long weekend. But anyway, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, the 23rd of April, 2025. It is now almost 5 p.m. here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today. And guys, I want to ask you before we continue, I want to ask you to share, like, repost, retweet, all the things so that I get a little bit more reach. It helps with the algorithm. I get a little bit more attention to my videos. And the best place for everybody to subscribe at is actually the Substack, because there you're guaranteed to get all my content. You get a notification in your email every time I publish something, whether it's an article or a video. You get all the access. Nothing's ever banned, nothing's ever removed or censored or taken away or taken down. So you'll get all my content there, guaranteed, directly to your email inbox. So go there to it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com. Again, that's it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com. Subscribe there for free or for $5 a month to support me and get all my stuff. Let's go on Colorado. All right, so Colorado, totally bonkers. They are another one of these states that's being run by insane, ideologically captured, blue-haired fucking morons, right? And now they're I guess it's the legislative floor, the legislative house or something like that, passed, so like they're Congress, right? Passed a bill, so it passed, like overwhelmingly passed a bill that is now going to treat spouses in custody disputes, spouses that are unwilling to use the pronouns or the new names of their children, if their children decide, or a teacher decides, or a kindergarten teacher decides, or their mom or their dad decides that they are now transgender, and actually Bobby is Bobette, right? If you don't go along with that and you're in a custody dispute in Colorado, so you get divorced, right? And your wife or your husband, mostly it's the wives though, let's be real, money husbands are not trying to change the sex of the kids. That's mostly a woman thing, a woke woman thing, a woke Karen woman thing. So let's just go with what's probably going to be the case. Your wife, your ex-wife, the wife you're divorcing, has decided to go along with this crazy transgender ideology cult, right? And is now making your kid, or your kid is now voluntarily, because mommy likes it, changing his name to Babette instead of Bobby, and wearing a dress instead of pants. And if you don't go along with this, then you will be treated as a child abuser by the courts. That is an actual bill proposal in Colorado that has passed the Colorado House. So we'll see what their Colorado Senate does with it. And then the governor, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think the governor will probably, this was, in California they tried to do this and it didn't go because Gavin Newsom thought it was too crazy. So, hey guys, let's be real. If Gavin Newsom thinks it's too far out there, then it's way the fuck out there, okay? Every sane parent out there who has any kids, even people who don't have kids, know that this is completely bananas. And what it's going to lead to is a bunch of fucking mentally completely demolished children, right? And will probably lead to many crimes of passion, murder, suicides and shit. Because that's what shit like this brings people to do. I mean, let me tell you, okay? If I had children, I don't. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I'd rather not have children, and why I'm glad I don't, is because I would probably end up in jail if I had children, dealing with leftist, woke fucking morons running shit and having my kid come in contact with that. If that ever happened to me, it would be a problem. So I'm kind of glad I'm not in that position. But let me tell you, if I had a kid, right, and my wife fucks the neighbor and we get divorced, and she transes my son, and the courts then treat me as the abuser, right, like a child abuser, so I don't get any custody. She gets all the custody and can do whatever she wants with that kid. I'm not so sure if I would react that fucking peacefully to that, you know, because that's completely unacceptable. And the state should be in a position to protect people from things like that, not encourage the evil person to do the evil thing and let the innocent person suffer because of it. That shouldn't be the state's fucking job. So if I have to solve that problem myself, I probably will. And I'm not the only one. Okay? So laws like this, when people with power start to implement things like this 1984 totalitarian madness that people in the West are just not going to be able to live by. And then that involved also the kids, right? They're going to turn the kids against their own parents. It's like communism 101. If you get to that point where your government is doing that, you have very little other options to start defending yourself than, defending yourself. Where are you going to go? So I would suggest that if this bill does pass, that anybody who has kids in Colorado move out. Move house. Because you will get caught up in this madness. And even if you're a progressive lefty who thinks it's the shit, right? Once you're in it, you're suffering the consequences of these policies, then you're going to think differently about it, let me tell you. So I think that these people should be all not have any power. They should not have any power at all. They're dangerous. They're dangerous. See, and this is what I keep saying, right? This is why Democrats and the left all over the world where they've lost power, we need to keep them away from it like fucking the plague, okay? They can't have it back, ever. Because they're going to do stuff like Colorado is doing on a massive scale. Not only that, they're going to destroy the whole economy. You know what I mean? Because they're going to need money in order to fund all their welfare bullshit programs and, programs to save minorities and programs to, for all their classes and all that shit, all the class groups that they want to be, privileged, they want to give privileged status to. They're going to spend all your money making you poor and giving your money to people who don't fucking deserve it, but they want to give it to them because they view them as a class that needs to be protected. That's all they're focused on. You know what I'm saying? These people are utterly insane. You would think, and I say this almost every video when I talk about Democrats, right? You would think after the massive clobbering that Donald Trump gave them in the election, the overwhelming ass beating, it was horrific. They got slaughtered. America said, F you to Democrats and the left and the woke shit. America said, we are fucking done with it. And Donald Trump is going to be the one to lead us out of that nightmare. And if he can't, then we're going to have to lead ourselves out. Donald Trump's the last chance. And luckily, Donald Trump is at least doing something about it. Right? But you see that even though these Democrats and these lefties got their ass handed to them, and they've got advisors and people and shit telling them why that is, they know why it is. The dangerous thing is, they don't give a fuck. They're continuing, all of them are continuing down the same woke, ultra-progressive, crazy town, non-reality path. They're all headed down the same path. They're all going in the same direction as they were before the election. They are acting as if they won, right? They haven't learned a damn thing. So they are extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Ideologues with power are the most dangerous people in the world. They need to be stripped of their power in Colorado. Hopefully, I'm sure the Supreme Court will strike this down. But it's just crazy to think that the Supreme Court is the only thing standing in the way of insane motherfuckers like this and your livelihoods and your family's livelihoods. That's crazy. Okay? What if the Supreme Court switches when other judges fucking retire or die or whatever, and then you've got 9 fucking these blue-haired insanity people on there? The world is fucked then. What are you going to do then? You know what I mean? What are you going to do then? How are you going to get out of that shit? Hey, come on, guys. Look, this is absolute madness. It needs to stop right away. I'm hoping the Supreme Court will step in and knock this thing down. Probably will. Maybe even the governor won't sign it. Like I said, it was too crazy for Gavin Newsom, right? So, if it's too crazy for Gavin Newsom, it might be too crazy for this governor as well. You know what I mean? But this shit has got to stop. People have got to start speaking up, got to start speaking out against this madness. This cannot be allowed to stand. Get rid of these people. Never, ever, ever let them have power again. We have to start treating them like they've been treating the right for since World War II. Since World War II, especially here in Germany, you know, people have been treating the right as all right-wing Nazis, neo-Nazis, all that. It's not right anymore. There's no right and left. No, there's only ultra-left or neo-Nazi. You know? And they have demonized the right and tried to keep the right away from political power for the longest time in Europe, especially, right? In Europe especially. They've demonized them, called them Nazis, called them Hitler. You know, they've gotten way more scrutiny than anybody else. It was ultra important that not another Nazi regime is able to stand up. That was their number one priority. It still is. You know? Like there's Nazis lurking on every corner. Right? But we need to start treating them that way. They are the Nazis, people. I've said this a billion times. The left are the Nazis. They may not know it, or they might know it and just don't admit it, but we can't be that stupid to see right in front of us that the things that they are accusing us of are the things that they are all doing. And we all see it. And yet there's still people out there who pretend it's not happening. That's going to get us all killed. We've got to get these people that are left in power all over the Western world out of power immediately, as fast as we can, and never let them have it again. Because they are the dangerous ones. It's their ideology that is a danger, not the right-wing ideology. It's not, because the right-wing ideology is not necessarily Hitler-esque or killing Jews or murdering a bunch of people or starting wars. No. At this point, being on the right is just having common sense. And it's common sense against ideology. You can't let ideology win. These people must be kept away from power at all costs. Treat them the way they treated the right and keep them at bay from power. That's got to be the new strategy for every citizen in every Western country where the left is in power, or in America, every state where the left is still in power. We've got to get rid of them all. They're like a plague. We got to get rid of them all, and we got to make sure they never come back. That's my message for today, people. Really important. The Colorado thing shows you how insane they really are.